All right, welcome back. Let me share this video with you and then we'll take it from there. So let's listen to this video. Let me know if you can hear the audio, by the way. Thank you.
Men who confess Christianity willing to wait. Why am I making more specific? Are you, as a Christian man who confess Christianity, willing to wait until marriage for sex? Are you honestly celibate or abstinent?
So no, I have not abstained. I'm gonna be very honest about that. And I think that's a problem with Christian men, single men. We say the right things on stage when we get in front of the body of the Christ, but we won't be honest.
Teach.
So the mature part of me was here and say, no, I have not been abstinent. Am I willing to wait? Absolutely. Here's my only concern, not as a pastor, not representing Change Church. We got to stop saying that the right person will wait, because that could be the right person and you're still having sex with the right person. It's the heart. And I agree with what she just said. If y'all are willing to step away and get it right.
Oh my God. This man will explain tired. Who's Anthony O'Neill? Let me make sure I do the needful before I go too far into this. Anthony O'Neill is a financial guru. That's what it was originally known for. But in recent times, he's been a lot of his rhetoric is around God. God told me. I feel like God was telling me that, all that kind of stuff. Well, all that is cute until real life tests all of us, right? So, but let me make sure that I give him his proper. Anthony O'Neill is the national best-selling author of Graduate Survival Guide, 5 Mistakes You Can't Afford to Make in College, and travels the country spreading his encouraging message to help teens and young adults transition into the real world. I've covered him here in the past. I think he's like 39, 40 years old, never been married, walking red flag, of course. I went from being 19 and $35,000 in debt to #1 national best-selling author, course creator, host, speaker, educator. My debt-free life is full of. Okay, so this guy is obviously a very, very smart, intelligent guy. But you know what I found in recent times? They're the one that struggled the most when it comes to this romantic thing. So let me play a little bit more and then we'll keep going.
And get before God, get before pastor. It doesn't matter really where you are. I think we put so much emphasis on sex, but I know virgins who are going to hell. And so for me, matter really where you are. I think we put so much emphasis on sex, but I know virgins who are going to hell. And
he knows virgins who are going to hell. Jesus.
Explain. Because no evidence.
Oh Lord. I don't know what is gonna happen here. Let's go.
So for me, I'm just gonna keep it above. And so for me, everything that we said, I'm just being honest. It's like, listen to what the pastor there just said. He didn't harp on purity. He said, is this man a man? Is he a leader? Does he love people? And so for me,
Did he say he's a pastor too? I think he said something about he's a youth pastor or something like that. Well, I think he used to be a youth pastor at the church. I'm not sure if he's still an active pastor, but once it's ordained, right? Let's keep going.
Not just focused on trying to abstain from sex. I'm trying to be the daggone best man God has made me to be. And being that man, I will fall. It may not be with sex, but I may fall and cut somebody out.
That's no. But the question was about sex.
Explain. Because no evidence.
Not so easy. The question was about sex. But nice try. Let's keep going.
Being real. Yeah. So I'm trying to grow as that man.
Let me get some opinions in the. Do you guys need me to play? Some of you might just be coming in. If you need me to play back again, let me know. I'll play back again. Anthony O'Neill is not a virgin or celibate. And guess who is mad? They're not having it. They're not having me. I'm like, okay. It's not like I care what you are, but since you're talking, let's talk about it. You guys want me to play it again? I'll play it again. Let me play it again. Let's see here.
Sex. Are you honestly celibate or abstinent?
So no, I have not
Let's talk about
abstained. I'm gonna be very honest about that. And I think that's a problem with Christian men, single men.
Wait. I have not. Should be the simple answer. Wait, are you?
The marriage for sex. Are you honestly celibate or abstinent?
Are you honestly celibate or abstinent?
So no, I have not
Let's talk
abstained.
about
I'm gonna be very honest about that. And I think that's a problem with Christian men.
No. We're not asking you about the problems with Christian men. This is the issue. They have to explain it. They have to explain.
Explain. Because no evidence.
It's no, I am not. I'm not practicing that. And I'm planning to start tomorrow, or I don't care for that. I don't believe in that. All right? It should be that simple. But of course, he must explain.
We go explain. Because no evidence.
Oh, well, let's hear the explanation.
Single man, we say the right things on stage when we get in front of the body of the Christ, but we won't be honest.
No, the reality is that a lot of people do that. They say all the right things, but yeah, like you're about to do right now. But let's keep going.
So the mature part of me was here and
That's
say, no,
welcome.
I have not been abstinent. Am I willing to wait? Absolutely. Here's my only concern, not as a pastor, not
No, that should have ended too. That was nice. Like, am I willing to wait? Yes, absolutely. But no, let me say all the right things again. Let me justify the fact that I'm having sex as a young man. Not young, he's 40. This guy is, how old is, let me see his actual age. Let me see if I can find it. Oh God. I think it should be about 40. A little while back, it was 38 or something like that. So I've actually followed him for a while. He was born in 1984. Oh yeah, he's 40. He's 40, exactly. He's 40. But let's keep going.
willing to wait. Absolutely. Here's my only concern, not as a pastor, not representing Change Church. We got to stop saying that the right person will wait, because that could be the right person and you're still having sex with the right person. It's the heart. And I agree with what she just said.
Will the right person wait? People do say that. Is it necessarily true? No, it is not. The wrong person will wait too. Okay. But that's not the original question. Hey, Esther, good to see you, Esther. Yes, he was justifying himself. That's not the right. He's answering the wrong question. It's true that we got to stop telling people. Do we have to stop? No, we have to stop. It's religion. They don't have to stop anything, by the way. They can just do whatever their religion asks them to do, or whatever their faith asks them to do. They don't have to. They have to say what their faith tells them to do. Whatever standards, moral compass they want to sow in the heart of their followership, that's what they need to do. They don't have to do nothing. But you can also tell us the truth. You can also just say, no, I'm not celibate. No, I'm not a virgin without the shalaye, but it's still talking. It's a pastor. So I see why. But this, again, very smart, intelligent guy. I know that once he was done with this shalaye, let me give you a quick secret. Once you're done with the shalaye, you still don't feel right. Something is still missing.
We go explain. Because no evidence.
If anything, you feel drained. You feel like, I spent all that energy doing explanation for these people, but yeah, they basically said these nuts. Let's keep going.
That if y'all are willing to step away and get it right and get before God, get before pastor.
That's what you're supposed to be doing when you're being celibate.
Get before pastor. It doesn't matter really where you are. I think we put so much emphasis on
even if you're inside of a Hypocrisy, it doesn't really matter where you are. I know what he's trying to say.
sex, but I know virgins who are going to hell. And so for me, I'm just gonna keep it above. And so for me, everything that we said, I'm just being honest. It's like, listen to what the pastor there just said. He didn't harp on purity. He said, is this man a man? Is he a leader? Does he love people? And so for me, I'm not just focused on trying to abstain from sex. I'm trying to be the daggone best man God has made me to be. And
can we start by abstaining from sex before talking in generals? Okay, let's start by just stay away from Hypocrisy a little bit. You're 40-year-old. You've had all you can have anyway. Hopefully, maybe not. I don't know. But the explanation,
And being that man, I will fall. It may not be with sex, but I may fall and cut somebody
you already fell. Okay, all right. That was in the past.
out. That's being real.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to grow as that man.
All right, before they talk, the last thing I want to do is judge him, of course. I don't want to judge him. The reality is that some of these guys, even, I don't know if all these ones on this table right now are all virgins, but the reality is that a lot of people in church are not practicing what they preach, including abstaining from sex. That's literally none of your business. If you say you want to abstain from sex, just follow your own path and try your best to do what you commit to doing. Right? Just try your best to stay committed to what you say you will do. The problem here is the shalaye. That's the problem here. Are you abstaining from sex? No, I'm not. I'm praying for the grace of God. Humility. I'm praying for the grace of God to help me. That's absolutely something I would like to do. Nobody, I promise you, nobody will judge him if he says that. But you see, the same spirit that he was tackling, that people should stop saying that, that's exactly what he just did. He literally just did it. He spent the first 1 minute and 44 seconds, let's just say 1 minute and 40 seconds. Let's take the 4 seconds out for the question, to basically do shalaye of why he's not abstaining from sex as a pastor. That is problematic, not because of the sex itself, it's because the explanation lacks humility. It's an indication of lack of humility. And it's actually it's more, for me personally, in my opinion, it's more of a major flaw than actually having sex itself. Is the lack of I don't want to call it transparency. There's another word I'm looking for. There's something missing there, right? It's not authentic. That's the problem with, again, shalaye. It's never really authentic. It's a need to justify the bullshit when you can just simply say human beings will continue to perpetuate and participate in bullshit. That's the whole point of saying abstain from sex, do the right thing, follow these guides. That's because we know that we're human beings and sometimes we fall. See, all the extra talk he did, all the shalaye.
Explain, because no evidence.
He's basically just preaching to the choir. Sadly, he's preaching to the choir. Esther said, I will judge him. Oh yeah, explain. You will judge him how? The Bible said, thou shalt not judge. Matthew 7:1. You're not allowed to judge. You're not allowed to judge. Yeah, it's not accountable. Absolutely, Black Diamond. It's not accountable. And he wasn't required to be accountable outside of when he gave the answer. But once he gave the answer that I am not, all in here to say I am not. No, I am not. You're a 40-year-old man. Really, if you say I am not celibate, I'm not a virgin, and you're a 40-year-old man, and somebody starts to drag you because, quote unquote, you claim you're a Christian or something like that, I think a lot of people will say, okay, stop judging him. Now, the part that you're a pastor, yes, you might get dragged, but that's the responsibility that comes with that title. Even people that are committing the same problems with you will judge you too. It's just, it should be expected, and you can't plead the fifth. Because if you plead the fifth, you're basically saying, no, I am a hypocrite. It's a struggle. So he has a choice here. I don't know I think it was put on the spot. I don't know if he could have done anything right. Because then if he lied, he's a liar, right? But then he still lied because he said, I'm not. And then he went on to do shalaye. In my opinion, that is actually worse than lying.
You go explain, because no evidence.
Let's hear what the rest of them have to say.
I got a lot to say.
Okay, Jeremiah, you start us off, sir.
Here's my question. And I'm saying this because my new church is multicultural. My former church was Black. Why do we at Black churches get the most charismatic person to be on panels for stuff like this, and then when it comes out, like, you shocked, like, in my mind, I'm like, y'all don't have nobody that's really like, you don't want to come to no singles meeting and be like, oh yeah, he's fornicating, so it is what it like. So y'all chose this brother because he got a following, he charismatic, and he basically on stage saying, I'm not saying we're not perfect, but I'm just saying this is like it is what it is, and that's different than God help me with the struggle. It is what it is. Is like
I agree.
we could do whatever.
It's different.
Go ahead.
It's different from saying he's not committed to his covenant.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Like, did he say as a pastor of Change Church, or is he saying to the pastor?
Not as a pastor.
Not as a pastor.
Oh, okay.
We're saying as a regular believer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's the part I was.
Look at this. The name of this one. Look at the name of this one on the screen. They have his name on the screen. The guy that's talking right now. His name is Ryan Righteous. You can't make this shit up.
There is God.
He can't make it up. He can't make it up. I guess that's okay. He has the right to call himself Ryan Righteous. Okay, but let's keep going. I guess we're about to hear something.
I was stuck on. I was like, whoa, because the fact that he said I do not abstain, it means that he's not trying. That's what it sounds like.
I'm
to
not
me.
even in the process of abstaining.
Sounds like willful sin.
Willful sin.
He's saying like, I just haven't.
Nah.
I've been trying, but I'm struggling.
Sounds like
Nah.
it's not a big concern for him.
Because
I didn't hear struggle in that.
to me, I wonder when he said you could be having sex with the right person, it's just the wrong time.
Let me make it a little faster.
Well, the person that you should be with should be trying to abstain as well, and then not, you know what I'm saying? Like,
So I'm gonna ask you this: do y'all know anybody who y'all know have successful marriage now? Who believers who did not have sex before they got married?
He said this guy just asked a very good question. Although I think the question will fall on his face immediately because again, people are never really genuine with this kind of conversations because it's faith-based. They're going to not be genuine, and they have a good reason to not be genuine. They will just call it faith talk, right? Kingdom talk. That's what they'll call it. But listen to the question.
if should be trying to abstain as well, and then not, you know what I'm saying? Like,
So I'm gonna ask you this: do y'all know anybody who y'all know has successful marriage now? Who believers who did not have sex before they got married?
Do you know anybody who are believers, successful marriage, but they did not have sex before marriage? Do you know anybody? That's the question. Let's see what the answers are.
That did not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do.
what you mean?
That's rare.
Let's say that again.
I don't know many people who saved or unsaved or whatever. Like I don't know many people who did not have sex. Who did not have sex with a guy. I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's cool.
Yeah, another layer of the question is that most people that have successful marriages today, but they did not have sex. Like one straight formula to that is that don't have sex before marriage. It's a good question. I don't think the answer to it is going to help anything, honestly. I think there are deeper reasons to abstain for people who want to abstain than just the goal of having a good marriage. Because if that's your reason, you're going to fail. Because like I always say here, that is not a skill set. If anything, you're abstaining, especially if you're a virgin, you have no idea what you're abstaining from. It doesn't mean you don't have a urge. That's the normal pushback. Oh, but yeah, we have urge too. That's the shalaye again right there. You've never had sex, so you don't know what we're talking about to a large extent. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean you don't have urge, right? But you see, there's multiple layers to it, right? The point is that do you know anybody, right? Nobody's going to give an authentic answer to that than the person that's asking the question. This person is driving at a point. Like, okay, that is not really a formula. It still doesn't explain why that guy was trying to justify himself if he's a pastor and he's supposed to be held to certain standards. Now, he could come out and say, I'm a pastor. And no, I'm not abstaining. There's Pastor Jamal Bryant, I think. I don't think he's walking around talking about his abstaining. And if he did, he could be lying. We don't know if he's lying or not. He won't be the first time or the last time he lied, right? It's a very complicated conversation that people get caught up in, and they waste a lot of energy discussing it rather than discussing the skill set to actually attract the right person and sustain a healthy marriage. People would rather talk about abstaining and virginity than talk about the skill set involved in attracting the right person and sustaining a good marriage, right? What people would rather talk about, say, hey, may God not allow you to marry the wrong person. And they will say that, and that's the end of the conversation. That's what most people are doing. Am I lying? I'm not lying. I'll answer for myself. I'm not lying.
It's okay. But I don't know. When I listened to him, I wasn't really.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button.
It's a lot of folks who are not perfect out here before. I think he was probably a little nervous because he already ruffled the women up a little bit. But I think what he was saying is a lot of people, you may not be perfect before your marriage. You may have somebody who y'all compatible on a lot of levels, but y'all may be really physically attracted to one another, and you need to get some accountability. You need to go to your pastor. You need to put things in place. You need to go over this house this time of night to do this and do that. We have the compatibility. We just not operating correctly. We need to try to find a way to put that on hold. And he gave an example of somebody on stage who said, yeah.
That's why some people will say, hey, once you meet somebody that you're compatible in that way, it shouldn't be longer than 6 months. If you're a person of a certain age, you're 38, 39, 40, and you're compatible with a person in that way, the only reason why you're not getting married in 6 months is fear. No, you can't tell me you can't find $30 to go down to the city hall and get married. The only reason why you're not doing it is fear. And by the way, you will explain that fear in so many other different ways that doesn't sound exactly.
We go explain because no evidence.
It's fear. That's the only reason why you wouldn't do it. Now, there's also some social constructs around that. As a lady, you can't be asking for your own hands in marriage, right? You can, but it will be completely against the norm, and that's a real thing you have to consider, right? As a man, you're basically just leading that person on and on and on and on, and it's been 2 years, it's 3 years, it's 4, 5, 6 years, and you're now 35, and then you're talking about celibacy and so I almost said celebrity. You're talking about celibacy and virginity. Are you winning?
Not be juju be that.
You're a human being. That's why you do the right thing so that you can now start to build a life together. Right. Let's keep going.
We were doing this, but we got accountability, got help. We chilled out until we got married, then we resumed what we were doing. You know what I'm saying?
James, it don't sound like he was saying all that.
He wasn't saying that.
It cuss you out.
Yeah,
it was like, I'm just me.
No, we've covered Anthony O'Neill here before. He's a walking red flag. There's a real reason why he's not married. Now, it's also a valid reason, right? But that is still a walking red flag. Whoever is going to get with Anthony O'Neill, he knows way too much. That's one of the problems of waiting way too long. You know, way too much. They can finish your no matter what wisdom of talk you're bringing to the table, they can finish it for you. The issue is a disconnect from the actual results that they desire. What is the disconnect? Well, it's going to take a lot of humility to get to that. Well, it's a lot harder to be humble when you are highly achieved, like an Anthony O'Neill. If you're making $1 million a year and you're 38, 39, 40, and you haven't been able to, and you've had some failures, all those failures will become additional layers of trauma that you have to walk through, right? So that's part of the struggle you're just seeing right here. So at the same time, it's pastoring people, and it's expected to be held to a certain standard. And then this whole thing is a moving target, right? So now they have the transformational church, the church of change. The ones, the Gen Zs, where they can wear earrings 3 times over around the ears and pierce their nose and all this kind of stuff. And they're supposed to be accepted, except when it comes to telling the whole public, like, wait, I'm a human being, I'm having sex, I am smashing, right? It's difficult because, let me be honest with you, don't tell anybody. If you're a pastor, you're 40 and you're not married, you're smashing, I will judge you. Okay, I might know how to say I'm not judging, like on a public platform, like let's not judge and that kind of stuff. At the very minimum, at the back of my mind, I will judge you. Like, you're supposed to be a pastor. What happened? I know what happened. You're hanging around these streets. You're in the streets. You belong to the streets. In the name of Jesus. But of course, it's very hard to get through it. It's very possible. He needs a coach. No. Anthony O'Neill is one of the biggest advocates for therapy. Okay, he probably goes to therapy about 3, 4, 5 times a week. At least he will claim it. I'm exaggerating a little bit, right? No, what he needs is a coach, meaning it comes with accountability. Okay, it comes with, they won't push you too hard. We don't push too hard, but we're still gonna hold you accountable. That's a major part of engaging a coach and a mentor. right? Let's keep going.
It sounds like
I get what James got.
I just don't see him on stage saying, "Excuse me, Pastor, but I'm just gonna have sex." I just didn't see that. I don't know.
It sounds to me like he's not very concerned.
He wasn't trying to do
Yeah.
that. It's the shalai. He talked too much. He wasn't trying to say, "Hey, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do," but he talked too much.
This is something he's like, I'm gonna be honest. I don't do that. It don't sound like he's trying to do it.
Like, I don't practice it.
It sounds like there's a lot of Christians who feel like it's impossible. So I think he kind of falls into that mold of I'll work on everything else about my life except that part.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
I got from it.
Michael is about to retire.
All right.
Here's what's going into his retirement.
Yeah, he's not working on everything else in his life either. I don't think so. At least not the romantic part of his life. The guy talks about getting married all the time. I think he's just struggling. Esther said he's a red flag. I agree. Oh, but you said I'm not supposed to judge him. Yeah, we're not supposed to, but we do. That's what every one of us need to realize. You're going to be judged by humans, even though they know they're not supposed to judge. We're all hypocrites. That's the point.
If I meet the right,
I'll work on everything else about my life except that part.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
I got from it. I haven't abstained, but I can if I meet the right woman, and that's what she wants to do.
What?
That's
I'm
wrong
willing
too,
to.
though.
I
didn't get that
well,
either.
that's what it said. Because he said I haven't, but I will, or I can.
So-
If you can't control that beast,
Right now.
No, it is. That's passion. Is your flesh. If you can't control that prior to y'all getting together, if she is like, okay, you're leading me because you're the man, or you're leading me, but at this same time, I'm tempting you, it's gonna be worse.
So this is why it matters, because it goes back to the last point, and this is maybe why he's getting signals from the women and they're sharing information, because he's not willing to submit this part of his life.
Yeah.
This is very important. You shouldn't be saying, "Oh, I won't have sex before marriage" as a man if that's what my future wife wants to do. You should be leading that.
Yeah.
That should be
I
yours.
disagree, but it's backwards. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, I go back to this. Like, following the Lord is tough. Even though He says my burden, my commands are not a burden. The sin that we live in, you know what I'm saying? It is tough, and
It is tough. In this panel right here, she happens to be the realest among them. When I was listening to it earlier on, in my opinion, she happened to be the realest among them. And I think she says she's married too. It's like no wonder. So a lot of people are not married and they just fantasize about all these ideologies. Yes, some of the stuff you're trying to follow from the Bible is something that was prescribed to you in that way from a pastor. And that pastor is a lot of time is questionable if they're living the lifestyle they're prescribing. But that's neither here nor there, because if they prescribe it to you and tag onto you, you're finding value in it. If you find value in it, make sure it's backed by proper purpose. But let me see here. Jim say, is it possible beyond beauty? Is it possible he just doesn't want to marry? This guy wants to marry because I follow him. Again, he's a financial guru. He has other content. I'm talking about Anthony O'Neill now. In fact, let me show you guys who Anthony O'Neill is, just in case anybody's here who doesn't know who it is. It's a young man, very handsome young man too. He is, is a very good speaker. Because again, he was on TV, on a major TV show with Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey is the ultimate financial guru on the Fox network. He left not too long ago, but he managed to maintain his success. This is Dave Ramsey right here, in case you don't know who he is. He talks about marriage so many times. Now, unless you're saying maybe internally he shouldn't be married, but he wants marriage. But I know that he said that he wants marriage. Okay, and he's been in a relationship. He actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I actually think it was actually engaged. There was an engagement that he broke up, something like that. This lady in green didn't hear Anthony. The lady, let me see who is in green again. Let me see who is in green now. No. She was sharing some. She was sharing some insights beyond what Anthony said. He's protecting his money over marriage. That's another angle. He might be red-pilled. There might be a camouflage red pill guy walking around the streets. Maybe he's just afraid of women in general. He's definitely operating from a place of fear. You see, when you have to mark every checkpoint, everything has to be right before you can marry. It's fear now. It's just what it is, you know. And that doesn't mean it's all the way a bad thing. It's a bad thing if he stops you from progressing. That's when it becomes a bad thing. And for a lot of people in this generation, it is stopping them from progressing. I'm not judging them. I'm just saying that's what's happening. Let's keep going.
We live in America, you know, where sex is from here to the ceiling. I mean, it is in the everything.
You're saying there's sex everywhere, in every image, everything. So to abstain, it's not easy. Every TV show you watch, every Tyler Perry, who is also a saved man, you watch, there's always a sex scene and all that kind of stuff.
And so
hamburger commercial, you
everything. It's in everything. It's starting to become in children's shows. I mean, it's now your identity.
Yeah.
So the real question Maya need to be asking this year is like, do you leave with your sexual identity, or do you know what I'm saying, as your belief? So it's really, really hard. And I wasn't a virgin before I got married. Because by the
way, that could be another reason why she's open to entertaining the shalaye a little bit more. Maybe because she can relate. But we all operate like that. If you can relate, we have a little bit more grace. So let's keep going.
Was told was don't have sex before you get married.
Fact.
And don't get pregnant.
Fact.
What I'm supposed to do with that? You know, like, what am I supposed to do with that? As a 16, 17-year-old girl, I love him. You know what I mean? We're gonna get married. Like you can't just stick a Band-Aid on a faucet and expect to not to have.
That's
a
what
problem.
Christianity literally.
And that's the issue. So I think I agree with Plain James, because I don't think he's saying that it's something that he's not open to. I think that he's never been given the language outside of don't have sex before marriage. But how do you combat that?
There's forgiveness for if you have sex before marriage. But if you are presently today saying that I love Jesus and I'm following him, if a man is not willing to say, regardless of you, I am committing my body to Christ. I am not having sex before marriage. And even if you want to, the answer is no.
Right.
Yeah. To me, that's a red flag. That means you're counting.
Yeah, but that's the problem with this conversation. He was already a red flag before we talk about virginity or celibacy. See, they're talking about all the wrong stuff. That's the problem with this. They're talking about all the wrong stuff. Let me see some of this comment. The comment section is the best. They stay winning. Dear future wife, I think this is the terrorist himself. Yep, that's him. He said, "This is my first time watching this podcast. I love that we're finally having these conversations as believers. James is so balanced in his perspective while using the word to confirm it. The WOG, woman of God to the left of him, spoke a word that will heal those who demonize their bodies." That's a good point that she made. Go watch the video. She talked about how let me see if I can get to it actually, because I think it's a very, very important part of the conversation. Let me see. There's a virgin lady there who also spoke. Let me see.
Like we're putting responsibilities on him, and he may not even be that deep in it. He may just be like a Republican Democrat believer. You know?
But if he is, red flag.
Right.
Nah,
We're honestly responding to what he's saying.
This is not it.
You know, we're responding to what he's
saying. Listen to this.
Like he said, as an example, my testimony in itself is proof that God can sustain. I'm 31.
She's
I'll be 32
virgin.
in 2 weeks. Woo woo. I'm still a virgin.
Birthday. Praise
31,
God.
32, still a virgin.
God can sustain. Like he said, people have stumbled, but I realize you have to be submitted to God. You have to understand that the word is the word. God is not a God that he shall lie. Anything that I submit to God, he can give me better. And that is what drives you. God will sustain you. I have a brother and sister in Christ that I love dearly. They dated for 5 years, didn't kiss till marriage. And
they dated for 5 years, didn't kiss didn't kiss. Listen.
Better. And that is what drives you. God will sustain you.
Listen to this
I have a brother and
carefully.
sister in Christ that I love dearly. They dated for 5 years, didn't kiss till marriage. And there's
My question: how long have you been?
They didn't kiss or something. I didn't hear what she said. And they did it for 5 years. That's reckless behavior. Straight up. And that should not be used as a cookie cutter example for anybody, because most people cannot sustain that, even when they say God will sustain me. Again, we're human beings. If you know that you want to abstain, everything as much as possible should be intentional. You shouldn't be doing no more than 6 months to 1 year. Especially if you're above 25, 30. Why are you waiting 5 years? Now, if you're dating for 5 years and you were in college, I understand that, right? But even in all of that, she says she stumbled too. Yes, she's still a virgin. A lot of people are walking around and saying, I'm a virgin, but they've also put stuff inside of other parts of their body. There's all kind of stuff going on in human beings, right? The inside of a human being is so deep. You got to be careful with this stuff. Let's keep going.
Been walking with the Lord.
I'm a church baby.
So now
They said, how long have you been walking with the Lord? She said, I'm a church baby. Now, where I come from, we don't accept that. You must have a date when you give your life to Christ. There's a specific date, kind of like the day you were born.
So now we take it to, like, for me, you feel me? You know
Different
what I'm saying?
world.
So it was a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? So you were around everybody who went to church in the South, but it was folks in the church who were getting it in. So it's like, don't do this, don't do that. But like she said, we didn't have the language. We thought we were believers. We didn't really understand completely what it meant to have a relationship. So then, even after I got saved and I came to the Lord, I still had a little residue still left for me, because salvation, you're working it out. And fear and
Working
trembling.
it out. Yes.
So after I got saved, I still failed a few times. Not because I was just like, I'm just gonna do it. It was just like, it was in me. You feel me? So I had to
It was in me.
work those things out. So if I was on the panel at that time as a believer, believing that Jesus died on the cross, and you asked me, was I abstaining? I'd be like, be honest with y'all, I haven't been abstaining. I believe I can, because I believe God is strong enough to do it. But as of right now, I haven't been doing it, and I'm trying to get there.
So plain, if she came to you and said, hey, there's a young man that's interested in me, he feels the way you felt at that time, what would you tell her?
This guy that's backing us right now, I think he's the one on the boards. Maybe he owns the podcast. He's quite judgmental in his assessments. Maybe he's just been a devil's advocate. I'm not sure.
You might want to be careful. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I'm not saying that he's not a believer. I'm not saying he won't treat you right or respect you, but he does have a lot to work on, because it's hard to, like she said, it's hard to cut the faucet off when you're going, you know what I'm saying? Then they just like, no, and you just like, so it's like, if I've been having sex for years, if I've been smoking weed for years and doing this, yeah, I got the Holy Spirit now, I'm saved. My flesh is a whole different animal. The flesh still saying, yeah.
Welcome, Marriott.
Every night around 9 o'clock, we were doing such and such. My flesh still want that, so I'm learning how to die to that still.
And that's all I'm saying, is that it's something you should be aware of. I implore every man that says that they're a man of God, you have to conquer. If you're single, you have to conquer this part, because this is a big sign that you are truly.
All right.
You know,
so it's a Christian platform, so
bragging about this or that, because God promised he can repair what the locust has eaten.
Yes,
right?
Sean.
God will restore you back to,
Listen
not
to
saying
them.
it, do it, you know, it's ask, beg God to give that to you, because he can change it.
Don't leave the women out, because we live in a society today
Listen to this.
where they leading with that pee. Everybody got the best pee on the market. You know
That
what
shouldn't
I'm
be the
saying?
women of God, though. That's not our standard.
But
cover your eye gates, your ear gates, your mouth gates. You have a responsibility.
Let me
Don't
tell you this,
listen to
though.
sexually
Let's go to the
explicit
Bible.
music. Don't watch sexually explicit content.
Don't listen to
Unfollow
Davido.
them. Don't listen to Sexy Red.
Don't listen to Sexy
we
Red.
also have to make sure and understand that we play a responsibility in this as well. So walking on that purity walk is not easy. That's why Paul says he beats his flesh into submission. We understand. Jesus walked the walk with us, being fully God, fully human. He understands, which is why I
want
like
you to
to
hear
think
this.
that my Jesus be blushing when he
Something
look at
she's
me.
about to say.
Because I be trying my best, even when I fall, to where it's like you have everything, your power, everything in you is telling you to defy me, but you're choosing me instead.
I'm gonna tell you about that though. So when you said he beat his flesh to subjection, that means the flesh was really resistant.
He was wrong.
You know what I'm saying? So
It was really
he even
resistant.
said also, this is a man who was snake bit,
Come on,
shipwrecked, stoned, imprisoned, eventually beheaded. And this man said what when he talked about fornication? He said flee. Paul really was scared of much, but he said run from this mug. And then he says it's better to marry than to burn. If you're burning, then
Start happening.
Yeah.
You know, like
Raging.
so learning about those types of
Listen to this
throughout a
one.
lot of my time in the church is that there's not a lot of education. There's not a lot of truthful talk about how you're actually wired, how God actually created you, what your hormones do. And it's not a sin.
Let me subscribe,
when you're
actually.
ovulating and things start happening.
Yeah.
You know, like, so learning about those types of things, I think is really helpful, because I used to demonize my body and I used to hate that part of myself. I felt that whole concept of, beat yourself into submission.
Beat into submission.
But you're also made in the image of God. He was intentional in the way that he created every element of you. So if you are experiencing an excitable moment, that is not sin in and of itself. And I think that's the part of like recognizing our humanity and not hating it, because Jesus was fully human and fully God. And so there's a reason why he didn't just shut down part of our humanity and say, okay, I'm just gonna hold this off till you get married, then you can access it. Like, that's a means by which, to what Sean's saying, we can pray. And
so a lot of this conversation, I really appreciate her submission just now, because I always tell my clients, I said, listen, I'm gonna teach you some stuff, but I don't want you to lose your essence. I don't want your partner to lose their essence, because that's what attracted you guys in the first place. I want you guys to maintain who you are at the core. It's just that you need to learn how to manage it, because if you don't, then you end up resenting each other. So anyway, this comment here, this is my first time. This is by Lateras from Dear Future Wifey. The woman of God to the left of him spoke a word that will heal those demonized their bodies. Everyone brought up good points. I think there were enough nuggets dropped for various people to extract what is needed according to their individual walk. We're all at different stages. That's a good one. Somebody said, fellas, if a woman does not have the heart to submit to God, she will not submit to you. Ladies, if a man does not have the heart to obey God, he will not obey the covenant of marriage. Okay. Somebody said, and this is why Anthony O'Neill is still single. Stopped watching him about a year ago. So this person is being judgmental. That's not the reason why he's still single, by the way. It's not single because he's smashing. This is what a lie they're telling themselves. No, that's not why. Okay? If there's any level of truth to that at all, it will be specifically about him and the grace over him. It's not something you can make into a rule for everybody, because it's simply not true. If there's a grace over his head and he's required to do that in order to get to the next level in his life, then that could be true for him. But you cannot turn that into a general rule for everybody, because it's never been true and it will never be true. It's simply not the reality. Like the gentleman was saying, there are too many people in successful marriages. They still have work to do. They're still here. They're still walking through their walk through the rest of their life. So you cannot turn that into a general rule. That's not why he's still single. He's still single because of many, many, many other reasons. When you hear Anthony O'Neill talk about relationships, maybe one of these days I'll do another reaction. I've done it before. He talked about why he's single at 38. I've done it before. Go find it. It's on this channel. The guy is a walking red flag. Before I knew it was practicing virginity or not, it's obvious to me. It's not always obvious to everybody else, right? So there's some other real issues to deal with beyond what you choose to do with your private parts in your privacy, which we will never know the truth anyway. This person, in the words of Tony Gaskin, bro, talk about the stock market. Don't talk about love and relationships. LOL. That's a good point. If Tony Gaskin said that to Anthony O'Neill, I think that's a good point. Like, he should just talk about the stock market and stop talking about love and relationship, because I already felt that way before. And it's not like he's not saying right and wrong. He's saying a lot of right and wrong stuff, but there's some nuances that you could just tell that, oh God, this one has no experience. Please take the mic away from that man. He's not far enough in his walk with Christ to be speaking in front of a group of people like that. He's been a pastor for a long time. He probably was a virgin for a long time too. But again, a lot of people are not willing. They're not willing to just learn how this thing works. So what they want to do is just hide under Jesus and kingdom talk. There's some real work that needs to be done beyond just your celibacy and your virginity. And if you don't do the work, it will come back and bite you. It's true for every one of us. Either you you're celibate or not. It's true for every one of us, and life will test you. All right. So that was that with that topic. We got some other stuff to cover today. Honestly, I would have loved to react to the whole thing, but we have some other stuff to cover right here today. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so that you're notified when we go live. I'll be right back.
Hey Prestige fam, show some love to the video. Hit like, subscribe, and share. Are you in Europe, America, and struggling in your relationship? From argument to abuse and trust issues, we're here to help.
Lola and I founded Prestige Marriage Academy to transform your story. With 20 years of friendship, 17 years of marriage, experience with navigating the ups and downs of marriage, and personalized coaching, includes 24/7 support. Ignorance is expensive. WhatsApp us at +1 732 305 8577 to book a free discovery session today and take charge now.
Don't wing it.
Join us in creating the love life you deserve.